Hello and welcome again to the Bench Report, where we discuss recent debates and briefings from the benches of the UK Parliament. A new topic every episode. You're listening to Amy and Ivan. So today we're looking at the materials from that recent discussion in Parliament around World Stroke Day. It wasn't just about awareness, was it? They really dug into the quality of recovery services here in the UK.
Exactly. And the scale is just immense. We're talking 1.4 million stroke survivors already in the UK.
And 240 new people impacted every single day. That's quite a number.
It is. And parliamentarians immediately framed this, not just as a health issue, but actually as an impending economic one. The figures they discussed were stark. Without changes, stroke is projected to cost the UK economy around $75 billion.
$75 billion by 2035, that's huge.
It's a massive figure, and it underlines that this goes way beyond just healthcare budgets.
And that cost isn't just the immediate hospital treatment, is it? It seems tied to what happens after. Stroke is the biggest cause of complex adult disability in the UK.
That's the key point. 60% of patients, that's 6 out of 10, leave hospital with a disability. And it can affect anything: movement, sight, speech, even personality. Life-altering changes.
So the argument was that failing on long-term support actually costs more in the end.
Precisely. There was a lot of praise, actually, for the acute care, the immediate life-saving response in hospitals. That seems to be world-class generally. But the conversation quickly shifted to the major failure point. What happens after hospital? Community rehabilitation.
Ah, the cliff edge people talk about. The support just vanishes.
Often, yes. The debate highlighted how support frequently collapses just 6 weeks after discharge. And it seems to depend heavily on where you live, on your local authority's funding.
And the numbers back that up. I saw something shocking about assessments.
Indeed. 68% of stroke survivors apparently don't get the required rehabilitation assessment after they leave hospital. 68%.
So nearly 7 out of 10 people aren't even properly assessed for what they need.
That's what the debate suggested. And even if they are assessed, finding the actual services is another hurdle. Nationally, only about 17% of community services can offer all 3 core therapies: physiotherapy, speech and language, and occupational therapy.
Only 17%. So you might get help walking again, but not speaking, or vice versa. That must massively hinder recovery and getting back to, well, life.
It absolutely doesn't. The personal stories shared were quite harrowing. People described feeling lost, completely abandoned.
Like being thrown out of the boat was one phrase used, told you're on your own after 6 weeks.
Exactly that kind of sentiment. It paints a picture of a system letting people down right when they need support the most.
And this links back to the funding fragmentation you mentioned, the postcode lottery.
Very much so. Access to highly effective treatments like thrombectomy, where they physically remove the clot, varies wildly. London sees over 10% access for eligible patients. But in the east of England, it's apparently as low as 1%.
1% versus 10%. That's a stark difference. And with stroke, time is absolutely critical, isn't it? Time is brain.
That phrase came up repeatedly. Every minute a stroke goes untreated, the brain loses nearly 2 million cells. 2 million. So when you see these regional gaps and hear about limited 24/7 thrombectomy access, particularly reports from Scotland mentioning issues outside office hours, well, that urgency becomes terrifyingly real.
And does this postcode lottery also map onto social inequalities?
It seems so. The debate touched on the FAST campaign phase: arm, speech, time to act, which has raised awareness. But the data on deprivation is worrying. People in the most deprived areas are apparently twice as likely to have a stroke in the first place.
Twice as likely.
And if they're under 65, they face a mortality rate 5 times higher than those in the least deprived areas.
5 times. That points to issues far beyond just post-stroke care. Prevention, rapid diagnosis in vulnerable areas too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So pulling all this together, the call from parliamentarians seemed pretty unified. They're urging the government to broaden its focus. It's not enough just to aim at reducing stroke deaths. They want a specific target for reducing long-term disability.
Matching the gains made in acute care with proper resources out in the community makes sense.
It does. And there was a final point, a rather provocative one, raised through a survivor's experience. Someone who regained significant function, enough to play golf one-handed even, but only achieved this through intensive private neurophysiotherapy.
So it highlighted a real contradiction. We know what kind of dedicated long-term rehab can work, but if the health service isn't providing it effectively, recovery becomes dependent on whether you can afford to pay for it privately. leaving the state to potentially pick up the much higher long-term costs of preventable dependency.
That was certainly the uncomfortable question left hanging in the air.
As always, find us on social media at Bench Report UK. Get in touch with any topic important to you. Remember, politics is everyone's business. Take care.
Hello there, this is Tom, the producer of The Bench Report. Listener suggestions are vital to my mission of making politics more accessible and accountable. So, if you have an issue that's really important to you, personally or professionally, and want to know what those in power are doing about it, please get in touch via email or via our socials at Bench Report UK. I'll grab another coffee and start scanning those parliamentary archives.